get
Yeah.
to it real quick here. What are the best diets? I didn't know that there was a best diet and whatnot.
Okay. Yeah.
What
It
are
was
you learn
that.
something today?
That's exactly what I wanted. I wanted people to ask themselves, "What do you mean the best diet for me?"
Right, right, right.
Because there, as a nutrition coach, I'm always asked, "What am
Hmm.
I supposed to eat?" And we are in this world where we are being told every day, "You're supposed to eat this, you're supposed to eat that, you're not supposed to eat this, you're not supposed to eat that. Don't eat meat, don't eat vegetables, don't." At the end of the
Exactly.
day,
Yeah,
what are we supposed to eat?
exactly. Yes, it's kind of hard these days, man. Especially in
Yeah,
the states, it's very
yeah,
difficult. You don't know what to consume these days.
yeah. If you really listen to the media, especially when it comes to health and nutrition, or health and wellness, there is a lot of um, dictatorship, I think.
Yeah,
There are really people who are telling you exactly what you're supposed to eat. I
exactly.
hear people telling, I was listening to another lady who was like, you want to heal your blood pressure, remove this from your diet, remove this for me,
Right.
remove this for me from your diet. Like, you're not doing it for the person, you're doing for yourself. So,
Exactly.
and there's sometimes when we look, and I'm maybe shifting a little bit to say, I come from Africa, and I had a background where we used to grow food. And there are a lot of people who are doing that. But
Hmm.
I came into this world when we didn't have this white and bread stuff everywhere. It
Right.
was there in the big towns and all that. And every time I'm hearing people asking, what am I supposed to eat? Or people getting like, you must eat this, you must stop that. There is all that question that comes to me like, did our grandmothers, great grandmothers had that chance to ask, what are you
Exactly.
going to eat? When someone is telling you don't eat fruit and meat before, at the same time, when you are hungry out there, you're hunting. Did you ask which one is going to harm your
No,
stomach? No,
no,
no. We lost the
no.
logic of living.
Here's the funny thing. As you said that, I thought about my grandmother, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And we go for the summers and, out in the country, stay the summer. And she cooked a lot of stuff that they say today that, hey, don't eat. My
Mhm,
grandmother lived well into her 90s. No high blood pressure, none of that stuff.
mhm. Yeah,
Short, petite, pretty little lady, and she ate what she wanted. And she cooked for her
she cooked.
grandkids
Yeah.
what she was eating.
Mhm, mhm.
So what is it? I mean, do we eat pork? Do we not eat pork? Do we eat, I don't get it.
Yeah, I guess there is a lot of these. I would say I don't know when the generations on when people turn into, we don't have too much and we have to make a lot of noise. We have to
Yeah,
tell people what they're going to do. We have to tell, and also people are hunger, they're thirsty of these things. We're always looking what is happening somewhere else instead
mm,
of asking ourselves what was happening, what can happen to me today. It's just like um, when you wake up and you just start thinking of how you're supposed to eat. The other day I was talking to a lady. I was like, um, "Do you have to take your breakfast?" And I was like, "Yeah, I have to take my breakfast. I can't live without my breakfast." And I was like, "Well," in my head, I'm like, "Well, yeah, but there are people who are just eating one meal a day. It's not a choice. You get? They don't
yeah,
have that choice. But we are so conditioned that we
perfect
don't
word.
question we don't question things out. And so when I'm saying the best diet for you, per se, it's not like there is any diet that is supposed you're supposed to follow.
Right.
You're supposed to find what is available for you. And if we are looking for um, a healthy perspective, you look for that diet that is going to promote health. That's
Hmm.
what we are looking for, right? If you're sick, if you have a condition that is limiting you from eating some types of food, like me, I don't eat some kind of food, then you have to create your diet according to what your body desires. I mean, your disease. Yeah.
I get it. I get it. I get
So
it.
yeah, so today it's rather a comparison of the diets that are there and see if this if these diets they really suit in our lives, and how do they are they suitable for the health? Can we can we sustain this diet for a long time, right?
Gotcha.
You got it. Okay.
I got it. I got it. I got
So I'm going to start with the most famous is Mediterranean diet.
it. Okay.
That's where I am. The Mediterranean.
Right. Right.
Okay. Those questions that we come back again, sometimes we don't have to be fixed. Things are not linear. So when we talk about Mediterranean, and this is so mentioned so several times in America, when they're always talking about Mediterranean diets, and I always say not the Mediterranean of today, because people who are living in Mediterranean, they're also having these diseases that are related to lifestyle.
Right.
So it is not the Mediterranean diet of today, but the Mediterranean diet that was there before, where people were eating, and this is more in Greece, Italy, and Spain. France has part of it, but I don't know whether really France has taken that diet or into 100%. I don't think so, because France has also the northern part of the diet. So
Hmm.
the Mediterranean diet has a lot of um, vegetables, fresh vegetables, whole food cereals, and they eat nuts, healthy fats. Mostly they're olives and olive oil.
Hmm.
They eat moderate fish and seafoods and poultry and dairy. Okay. Um, I know, like in France, we have a lot of cheese. We also have, I've seen when I go to Italian shops, they have a lot of cheese and ham, which are
Hmm.
their specialties. Yeah.
It's so funny looking at this list. I'm looking at the foods that it emphasizes, and I guess I could say I'm partly on a Mediterranean diet because these are some of the things I commonly eat,
Yeah.
like every other day, like walnuts, almonds. I do a lot of almonds.
You do a lot yeah,
Yeah,
it's one of the easiest diets when we are looking at the big diets we have to compare. It's one of the easiest diets to implement because it's not removing a lot of things.
is that
Okay.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and
Mm.
we have to take into consideration that the Mediterranean diet includes a lot of pasta and pizzas, but that is not the Mediterranean diet we're talking about when it was those years back. Even if, like we look today, we can talk about France. France, they used to eat a lot of bread. They eat a lot of bread, but the bread we are eating today, and that is a subject for another time. The way people are eating bread today, or they're eating pastry today, it's not the way it was designed to be, right? Today when I was thinking about the podcast, I was like, you take back how they used to make bread in the past.
Yeah.
You didn't have your oven in the house. The oven was somewhere where people used to go and bake, and you get. And sincerely, if you were to bake a bread every day, at a certain time you're going to get tired, and so you'll say, okay, fine, this bread, it's already becoming costly because you're using the electricity. It's also taking your time, but
Mhm.
because now things have been made so available and so cheap, you know
Right.
before the fresh bread was only in the bakery, then you could only have the packed breads that in the paper, the cereal breads. But today, the supermarkets, here we call the supermarkets, you find the fresh breads. They are making their own breads, and so the bread is cheaper.
Right. But it's so funny that it's
Mm.
funny that you say that. My grandmother used to make her bread.
Yeah,
Yeah, she would make her bread like every week.
every week, and not every day. So when people are eating bread every day, you need to ask yourself, if you were to make that bread, would you make bread every day? Because people are going to buy bread, and sometimes you see people with three, four, five breads there for the day.
Right.
So pizzas and pastas, they are there in the Mediterranean diet, but they are consumed with other with the food, fresh foods. I mean, fruits and vegetables.
Mhm.
And like you can see when they're making pasta, they have a lot of what do you call this? Tomatoes. Okay,
Mhm.
they have basil, they have other oregano, they have spices that are coming in. So they're not just eating pasta the way you can say in America, the way they eat pasta, or maybe even today here, there are people who are just going to boil pasta and put butter on it and they give to kids, or they add cheese on it. So yeah, talk about having a healthy Mediterranean diet. So when it comes, don't just hear a Mediterranean diet, you say, wow, I'm going to eat a lot of pastas and pizzas. No, those foods they had their place in the diet. And we are not talking of the diet that they're eating today because there are a lot of obese kids in Italy and also in France than you'd find in some countries in Africa.
Wow.
Because these people are having we are in abundance of food and we don't have activities that goes around with that.
Right. So
Yeah.
if like I don't eat a lot of pasta, so
Mm.
I guess it's still considered a Mediterranean diet, right? Because I really don't deal with pasta at all. And
Uh,
barely cheese. I don't do that either.
okay.
But everything else
Uh,
on that list,
it's okay.
I can.
It's all right if you don't eat them all the time. But then when I say that's another subject, it's to know that the bread that the wheat that you guys the Americans have, it's not the same wheat we have here.
Right, I know that.
So it can be so um what can I say, health wise,
Right,
and it might not be as good as such to eat pastas all the time. But if you go to places, the groceries like the Italian groceries, and find out if they really they import from your place, if they import things and you can buy from there. Like when I am here in France, I can go to an Italian shop and I'll buy things that are coming from Italy. They're not just the French things they started putting together. It's literally something that is coming from Italy. So try to see if you can get that, and also being organic. Try to go organic, and but going organic doesn't mean that the bread, the wheat has changed anything. So the
right.
thing would be looking for the ancient grains. Okay,
One more time, I missed that. One more time.
yeah,
Looking
ancient
for
ancient grains, wheat
okay,
grain. Okay,
gotcha. Okay.
yeah. Um, so knowing, being conscious that, and once again, it's a vast subject. I'm talking about the wheat. It's a vast subject that we need to cover that in another topic. So yeah, if you want to eat pasta, you, I'm not recommending that. Depending on your diet, depending on what are you looking for when it comes to eating healthy. I'm not saying they're
Right,
not healthy. You can enjoy them once a month or maybe once a year. I don't know. It depends,
right.
right? Yeah.
I get
So,
it.
what are the pros for Mediterranean diet? Is good for the heart, okay, because it's rich on omega 3. They are eating some fish. They're eating walnuts, and they're also including, what did we talk about? Olive oil, even if it doesn't have omega
Mhm.
3s. It's good for brain health. It's anti-inflammatory, and you can sustain it for a long time. It's flexible, okay, and it's also a good way to lose weight for those who are looking to lose weight. However, it can be maybe expensive if you are getting into it, but once you get to, buying whole food,
Oh, it's
you don't
expensive.
you, you don't have to, no, the first time when I started changing my diet, I went to the organic store,
Mhm.
and I think within 2 weeks I was at 600 euros. I was like, man, what's happening here?
It's definitely expensive, I tell you that. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But then I realized you don't have to eat everything from the organic shop, right?
right.
So me, I go to the farmers. They obviously don't have the label organic, but as I discussed with them, I know that their food is healthier, much healthier, and
Mhm,
even to some certain point than the organic. Because if I go to with you to organic shop here, you might maybe find maybe 1% of produce that comes from France.
mhm.
The
Wow.
rest is the rest is coming from Italy, Spain, Morocco, um, Israel. Okay,
Right.
so they are important because everything that grows here is so expensive. Okay.
So give me an example. I'm interested. Give me an example. Let's just say, well, we talked about avocados last year,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we'll stay with an avocado because that's
Okay,
how I know.
France doesn't grow avocados. So it's for
Exactly, exactly.
avocado, a piece of avocado like that, a piece of it can be from 1.76 euros
Mhm.
to 2 euros, one piece. And you might
One,
have that one,
you
and
said one piece?
you'll be lucky if it's not having those black stuff on it. Why? Because we are far from equator, and so the avocado. I bought avocados today, and they are not ripe at any set. They are
What?
just green hard things. So you have to make them ripe. Okay. So we don't eat avocados every day. Okay, this season when it's cold, there are some shops that have um, less expensive avocados, so you can
Right.
buy them. But mostly, you go to the market, you're getting an avocado for 2 euros. Like, well, if you have 5 people in the house, what are how many? It goes with the pocket. What I'm saying,
Mhm.
but I would say something so simple. It's like lettuce. Like you want to eat lettuce, you go to the farmers market, you can have maybe three for 2 euros. Okay.
Mhm.
Whereas when you go to the organic shop, you're going to buy one for 2 euros,
Wow.
and it's still coming from France.
Right.
Yeah. So being organic can be very expensive. It depends
Yeah.
if I do buy stuff from organic shops, but I really know where I'm going to get what.
Right.
So yeah, so Mediterranean diet could be it's not ideal for everyone, so it can be expensive. If you want to eat meat every day, it's not the diet to go for. So, but it's really um, a balanced diet.
Right.
Okay. The other one we're going to look at is ketogenic diet.
Okay.
Ever had done keto?
Actually, I do a lot of keto stuff like
Okay,
keto bread and stuff like that, keto
but
protein shakes and stuff like that. Yeah.
okay, but we agree if you're eating pasta, you're very away from ketogenic, right?
Stop, stop,
it's,
stop.
it's it's on the other side.
Yeah.
Okay.
I enjoy, and the reason why I enjoy keto bread opposed to like regular white bread,
Mm,
white bread is so heavy. Well, keto bread is very light,
mhm.
very extremely light.
Okay.
No salt, no sugars, no nothing in it.
Yeah, I haven't tried it, but I imagine because yeah, it's mostly made from almond and eggs,
Yeah.
mostly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So ketogenic diet is highly a high fat diet,
Hmm.
moderate protein, and you have a lot of fruits and vegetables, but they remove everything that is carbohydrate. Okay. So even the fruits, they don't eat some fruits, they don't eat bananas, everything like almost like what is in the tropical areas that is high in sugar. So
Right.
they are going to eat a lot of berries. Yeah, so they reduce the amount of sugar because I have done okay. The goal to have for the ketogenic diet is to let your body to burn fat that your brain and body is only on. It's just like when you're fasting, you
Hmm.
fast to a point where you no longer have glucose, your body goes to ketosis. And so it is started using the fat because you
Right.
lost you used if you fast for maybe 24 hours, you're going to use all the glucose that is around. But then you're going to switch to ketosis because your body has to go into the fat cells to create energy.
Gotcha.
So ketosis, ketogenic diet is posed on that. Instead of having glucose, you use fat. Okay.
Get it. I got it.
So the pros for ketogenic diet is you lose weight very fast. People always talk about how they lose weight because you're burning fat. Because as I said, you no longer have glucose because our body is wired to use glucose. So it can use fat, but it's normally wired to use glucose. So when you don't have glucose, it goes back to the cells and starts using the fat cells. And so you burn uh, the 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 fats that you have stored very fast. And so it also controls the blood sugars because there's no more glucose that is coming in. So you're just having food that is regulating. So you become insulin sensitivity
Hmm.
for those who are in diabetic. And it also has brain benefits for people who have epilepsy, Alzheimer, anything to do with the neural
Hmm.
diseases. Yeah.
Well, that'll
So
definitely benefit me. So yeah.
it could, if you can. It's not easy to maintain it,
Hmm.
but if you're looking to anything that has to do with the neural disease, it can be really helpful.
Hmm.
The cons is nutrient deficiency long term, okay, because you're reducing a lot of things. You're not eating a lot of vegetables that are having high starch or high sugar. So you're reducing a lot. Okay. And you can also have a problem with the heart because if you're not careful, don't not like it goes to everyone. You really have to know what you're doing because high fat also can be you're taking a lot of high saturated fat. So have to be checking all the time for for the heart where your levels of cholesterol are. Okay, it's very restrictive. And when we talk of ketogenic and we're going to talk about paleo, we're also talking about eating organic food. So it can become very expensive. Because
Right.
when you're talking about eating ketogenic, you're not just going to feed your body with any kind of meat. So
Right.
it's really emphasized that you take organic, and that comes with with the money. So it can be very expensive. But it's something that has been used medically for epilepsy. So yeah, it can be good for now for a short while, a short period.
Hmm.
But there are people who are in it for a long time. But once again, it depends with your pocket. Okay.
Yeah.
The one known is paleo. Paleo diet is paleothenic, I think. Huh? When we people started when they were hunters and gatherers.
Hmm.
That's where the paleo comes from. So paleo is more of almost like the ketogenic, but it has whole foods. Okay, it doesn't have any processed food. It doesn't have any sugar.
Right.
So
Captain,
it's
we got a question here. I just
yeah,
saw this question from a viewer here.
yeah.
Can you see that?
It's too small for my screen.
It's
I
saying
know on my screen. Yeah,
asking about cucumbers and blood pressure. Is cucumbers good for
cucumber.
blood pressure?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because they give a lot of water, electrolytes. So cucumbers are good foods for high blood pressure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Appreciate you, Alvin. Thanks for that question.
Just to answer that person there, the person who questioned that, blood pressure comes out of the balance between electrolytes, potassium and sodium.
Right.
So when you have high sodium, you need to bring a lot of potassium, and potassium comes from these fresh fruits and fresh vegetables.
More
Okay,
fruits than anything. Yeah.
yeah, get any food that is going to have high potassium when you're reducing the sodium. Okay. However, if you have too much of potassium and low sodium, you're still going to create that imbalance. So what you need is to have that balance. Okay, they really work together.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you go, for example, you're eating a lot of vegetables and you don't have any salt, for example, right? Sodium.
Right.
You're going to create an imbalance. Even if there are people who are going to tell you, yeah, there is sodium in the foods that we're eating,
You
depending
know what's
where
so
you eat.
funny?
Yeah.
I'm glad he brought that question up to you. I saw an article where they were talking about how here in the States, they
Mm,
no salt, no salt, no salt, no salt. Take salt
mm,
completely out your diet.
yeah.
And the article was saying, no, no, no,
No. Mm-mm,
no, 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 not at all. You're
no.
not supposed to do that. You're supposed to have some type of salt in your diet. You just
Yeah.
can't just cold turkey
We
salt.
exactly. You get out of processed salt and you take whole salt, salt that hasn't, stripped of the minerals. Salt come
Right.
from the sea, and so it has all the
There you go.
minerals, and we need those trace minerals. And when you don't have those trace minerals, you guess what? Your body can start using stocking heavy metals
Right.
because the body is looking for some, your body is always going to compensate whatever you're not giving it is going to look for somehow because the Bible, I think is the last time I say the body is here to survive. So it's
Right.
going to find a way. How can I live? How can I go without this? What can replace this? And so not having those minerals, it's going to be detrimental for your health. And there is this I don't remember which disease. When you go to, I think it's dehydration. When you go to the hospital, the first
Mhm.
thing they give you is salt water.
Exact. That's what the article said. The article said that the first thing they do is give you saline water.
Yeah, saline water. They give you salt because you're dehydrated. So,
Exactly.
that's what I go back to what we started. It's when people are telling you stop, stop, stop. Ask yourself questions because I sit down and ask myself, do you really want us to tell us that human was so stupid to start doing all those things, cultivating things, eating these things for you us now generations to come here and tell us this is not good for you. Don't
Right.
eat plants, don't eat meat, don't eat this. These people, we have come from far as humans because we integrated, we evolved eating some stuff that were beneficial for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that
So
article was very informative when it said,
yeah,
taking
yeah.
salt out of your diet is the wrong thing to do.
It's the wrong thing to do. You need that salt. But once again, we are talking about whole salt, sea salt. You can take
Right.
Himalaya salt as well if it's available. Yeah, but definitely not the table salt. Just like the white sugar, the table salt has been washed out. They have processed it to remove the nutrients.
Right.
So yeah, so the pros for the paleo is they emphasize on whole foods. It's good for losing weight and also reduces inflammation because you're removing everything that is processed
Right.
and they reduce the sugar. Paleo goes back to how people ate at that age where there was no industrial. So they are asking, it's demands a lot on eating uh, organic, free raised animals that are eating in the grass. They're
Right. Right.
walking around. So as ketogenic, it becomes also expensive. Okay, so it also becomes restrictive because you can't eat. They remove grains, so if you're living in a place where that's all it is,
Right.
you might end up having these kind of limitations. Okay. It's best for autoimmune diseases. Sorry. I know of a doctor, she's called Dr. Wal. I don't know whether I pronounce her name properly. And she really created this diet for herself because she was a doctor and she had multiple sclerosis
Mhm.
and she was on a wheelchair and she started implementing this diet and now she's walking.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's really once again, they are diets that are made somehow to help people who are having diseases. Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So the other one is vegan, which is now has become like everyone is supposed to be going
Uh,
vegan.
that's the trendy thing right now.
It's a trendy thing. I even a lot of people, and here I am, I'm not vegan because a lot of people think that I am vegan. And I remember there is a lady who told me, "Yeah, I would like to do coaching with you, but I don't want to become vegan." I was like,
But
"I'm not vegan."
a ton of your recipes are plant based, though, right?
There are plant-based. Okay, we go back to what I said in the beginning. You choose your diet according to how you feel
Right,
best for your body, right? So there are some factors in my life that made me to be more plant based.
right,
First, I am not a meat eater as such, and this comes far away from when I was a child. When I was around 5 years old, we went to a place there was wild animals, and our compound, my father with other people, we had a lot of meat, a lot of cows and sheep.
mhm,
And so we were eating meat all the time because as we landed this place, we didn't have a lot of people. So there were a lot of animals and people were killing these animals all the time.
right.
So me boiling or smelling these buffalo meat all the time, I used also to slaughter. I have killed chicken. You know, we were
Right,
slaughtering kitchen.
right,
Chickens. We were slaughtering sheep. Mm, And I'm not saying this is the way a lot of people were living around us, but where I was, there were a lot of meat and a lot of milk.
again, like we said in the beginning of the show, we
Yeah,
talked about my grandmother.
yeah,
My grandfather
mm,
did those things. We lived off the land, like
yeah.
chickens, goose,
It
and
goes. Yeah,
we would go in the
exactly,
backyard and kill a chicken, and that's what we have for
exactly.
dinner.
Yeah,
But
and
we felt that pretty well. So when people say, "Oh, don't eat this, don't eat that," I don't get it.
Yeah, so I grew up with that thing, and so it's the meat was tough because these animals they have been running, they have been, it's not these things that you can eat even the bones because they have been locked in the cages, they don't have enough food.
Right,
So I grew up with that, and it's kind of put me out. I didn't like chicken the way it smells. I don't like it that much. So I'm not vegan because I don't want animals to be killed. It's just like I'm not vegan. I eat a lot of plants. And the other thing is, my daughter, she's 12 years old. She has never eaten meat in her life.
wow.
I guess my daughter, when she was born, she became 1 year old and she
Mhm.
could see meat or smell meat and she would throw up, literally.
Wow.
Threw up. So it was like, wow. And now she's 12. You imagine that time, vegan was just, yeah, 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 those woo woo stuff. And so there was that thing of, I might be doing the right thing. I couldn't tell the doctors that she doesn't eat meat because they're going to say, hey, you have to force. I remember when she went to school for the first time and she was supposed to eat in the school one day and they forced her meat and she came and it's like, never again. Okay, she
Mhm.
has never liked meat. So that also really made us to be more plants. And now, with the knowledge that I know what meat can do, high consumption of meat, it also added to it that. Second, as I'm saying, paleo and keto. I don't want to eat meat that I don't know where it's coming from. So if I
Right,
have to buy meat, it has to be meat that is coming from farmers and it comes with its price. So my son do eat meat sometimes. He doesn't eat meat all the time. But we again have to take care, where is that meat coming from? So because of those factors, I am more in plants and I feel better eating plants. And now today I feel much even better when I'm eating raw food. It doesn't mean that I can't eat meat. If I go to someone's house, I don't tell people, hey, start. No, I eat meat if it's there.
right,
Okay.
right.
Yeah. So When it comes to vegan, it's a good thing. It's a good diet, especially when you're having inflammation. But there is something that people always forget. The vegan doesn't always mean that you're eating healthy, because vegan means you're removing meat. It doesn't mean you're removing processed food.
Right.
Okay, so it could be a good diet if it's done well. It's We're talking about environment. I would say it's not the fact that people are eating meat, it's the amount of meat people are eating all the time that makes that now we have to have these animals being raised for the meat. We never raised animals back where I was for the meat. They were part of, you know, we have this.
Right.
And you're slaughtering that animal, you're not slaughtering um, a chicken every other day. You know, it's maybe that Sunday there is meat.
Right. Yes,
Okay,
here in the
so
States, it seems like we're constantly having recalls on a whole bunch of stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
so the risk of being vegan is more the deficiencies, especially when it comes to B12.
Mm-hmm.
So B12 and omega 3s, it all depends how you're doing. It's something that I would say, just like vegan and plant-based, you have to be very careful where your nutrients are coming from. When it comes to proteins as well, is are you having enough proteins, and are you having the nine, some say nine, some say eight essential minerals, not minerals, amino acids, the plants. Okay. So what was I? So yeah, so the vegan diet can be a good diet
Mm-hmm.
to reduce inflammation, but you have to remove then the processed foods.
Gotcha.
Okay. It is also good for diabetes and heart disease. Okay. The other
Gotcha.
one is DASH diet. I don't know whether you know it. DASH. It's
I've
DASH.
I've heard about it, but I don't know a lot about it.
I didn't know a lot about it. It's a diet that it was created by physicians to heal hypertension.
Mm-hmm.
So it's supposed to reduce the high blood pressure. The person who asked the question. So there is DASH diet, and it's really into eating a lot of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, lean proteins, almost like the Mediterranean diet.
Green that, yeah.
Yeah, and you have low fat.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, and uh, you minimize red meat and processed meat.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So as it is called, it's clinically proven to lower hypertension. It also reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease, because hypertension and cardiovascular disease, they go hand in hand.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. What is the corns? They can be high in carbs, and it requires meal preparations. Okay. So
Gotcha.
it's a good diet for high blood pressure, heart disease, and stroke.
Okay.
The other one is intermittent fasting. Okay, so that we go. It's just a diet where you don't eat food for a certain time. Like today, I took my smoothie at midday. I ate the last meal last at 18 hours, 6 p.m. So that is intermittent fasting. You have a window where you're not eating and then you eat. That is intermittent fasting. It's a good diet when you're looking to lose weight, when you have inflammation, when also you want to live longer, younger. It's because it pulls you away from the food. The much we keep on eating, the more we grow faster, because we are creating those there are a lot of stuff that happens. So it's
Right.
proven that staying away from the food sometimes is beneficial for our cells, because it allows the cells to repair as well. So
Okay.
we go to the other one is carnivore diet.
What is
as
that now?
it's
Repeat that.
carnivore
Carnival?
carnivore diet. As it is sounds, it's just a carnivore diet. You just eat meat. Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah. So I don't know whether I've ever seen anyone eating carnivore diet, but it's there since it exists. Have you ever seen anyone met someone who eats only meat?
I have. I have. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
They don't eat anything else, just eat meat.
Not the, here in Louisiana, they um they eat a lot of
Okay.
meat, no vegetables and stuff like that.
Okay.
Maybe every once in a while I see people with vegetables, but the majority of stuff over here,
Mhm.
there's a lot of meat involved in that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The pros for the carnivore diet, it's easy to follow because you don't have anything else to prepare. You just have meat to cook, right?
Mhm.
It can reduce inflammation, so it can be good for autoimmune diseases, but I would say for a short period because there's some people, for example, who have bowel diseases,
Mhm.
irritable bowel diseases. They the fiber inflames the gut. So having meat can, when you get out of the fiber, you can have that period of healing.
Right.
But it has to be surveyed because when you stay for a long time without eating vegetables, it has its own consequences. And the thing is nutrient deficiencies because there are nutrients you only find in plants.
Got it.
And it also can be a high saturated fat diet. So if you're not, if you're just eating meat, but if you're eating lean meat, then I don't know. There is a lot that is behind the just meat because eating a lot of meat can also affect a lot like your kidneys. So I don't know how these people survive. Well, as far as I did the research, well, it is what it is.
Right.
But I haven't found um, studies done for a long time, a period of time to say that yes, carnivore diet is something that you can survive with. We know, for example, for the gut microbiome, it really depends on the plant food. But once again, as I said, and I have said several times, the body is always adapting itself. So long-term studies have to come out. I don't know.
Yeah, personally,
Okay.
I've never been one to consume a lot of meat because I don't like the way it makes me feel,
Hmm.
with the red meat, and I haven't had red meat in so long. But
Right.
yeah, it's a different feeling, man, when you're consuming all that meat.
Yeah. Yeah. And as we age, we lack a lot of stuff happens in our bodies, and so there is this
Yeah,
reduction of stomach acid. And so when you don't have that enough stomach acid, so you have problems in digesting proteins. So like for people who are old people, they don't have enough stomach acid, and so you can feel they don't want to eat protein because it becomes a burden. So I think also people who have what do we call this, acid reflux, because
uh,
you're reducing your stomach acid. So if you don't have stomach acid, you can't digest meat because meat really
right,
needs that stomach acid.
right.
So yeah, so that is the overview for the common um, diets that are around
Okay.
there. Okay, there are pros and cons. But what I wanted us to come to is the African diet, because what all this is concerning the Western side. And there's nothing in the internet that you'll find like, wait, what about Africans? What do they eat? Right? And
Yeah,
it came to
definitely.
when I was doing my research, I was like, yeah, but well, we are not all in the Mediterranean zone, so we can't all eat ketogenic. We can't
Right.
become paleo. So what is it that African people eat? And there's no African diet per se because African is huge, right? So we have different dietary from different parts of the African continent. So we have the
Mhm.
North American, which is almost like we say the Oriental or Mediterranean is more close to that. We have the West Africans and we have East African diet and we have the South African diet. Not South African, but South of Africa. Okay. They
Right, right,
have their own diet. So the Western, they have a lot of vegetables, they have grains as well. When it comes to Eastern side, they have fermented foods. They also have grains and vegetables. The South, they have more protein in their diet.
hmm.
Yeah. And so I was like,
So in the
how
South, there's
can,
more meat.
sorry?
So there's more meat in the South.
There's more
Uh,
meat in the
yeah.
South than, and I think there is a reason why. I would have found it in the equator, but there is more game. I mean, animals, and maybe the maybe the South Africa is also most developed. But now we're not talking about South Africa as a country. I don't know whether when we take that, we're just looking at South Africa because it's the biggest at the South, right? It's the most common famous country known, but there is game, and also when you look at the Bushmen, you have ever heard of Bushmen?
Never have. Educate me.
Bushmen are people who are still not in our civilization of the
Got.
modern
I
civilization.
get it. Yeah, I get it.
They are more in the south of Africa. I
Is that
love
right?
those people. I love those people. And one time of my life, I go and have 1 week with them. I really like the way I like the way they live.
Right,
And
right, right,
so yeah, so they, I guess that why we have the protein because they are south there and they are capable of living with the game they catch. Okay, hunting and gathering.
right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I
You
have
have
a thought on that, but it's not for this program because I heard the term Bushman before, but here in the states. But we'll talk
Bushmen.
about it offline. Yeah, we'll talk
Okay.
offline. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for if there is another term that means something different, I don't know. But when we're talking about Bushmen, we're talking about the people who are still living with hunting and gathering
Right,
food. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so there is that part of it, and I wanted to explain why there is these variations as well, especially in Africa. I come from a zone. I come from equatorial zone, and in the equator in Kenya, for example, where I come from, we have two. We are divided in two. So there is the equator passes in the middle, and there is the north part that is dry, and we really have farmer in that part, and there is equatorial side where there is highlands where you have a lot of food that is growing.
Right.
So the variations of those who are in arid places where it's dry, they are going to have a different kind of food than people who are in the equatorial side.
Gotcha. Well, looking
Yeah.
at all the different diets that you went through,
Yeah.
the Mediterranean diet is. I'm more closer to the Mediterranean diet.
Hmm.
So a lot of stuff that's on that Mediterranean list,
Yeah.
I
Would
eat
you
that.
like it? Yeah. Do you have any questions? I don't know how we have time.
Uh, yeah, we got about 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Okay.
So, what's a good protein source?
Wow, that's a big question, and it really depends with who for who.
For
Okay,
me, you know my
for
conditions. So for me, what's the
yeah, but we are not talking. We are here talking to. We're
size?
here talking. For you, I mean, the good protein source, it could be anything. It could be animal. It could be, I mean, animals. I'm talking about lean meat, poultry, fish, seafood. We go to the vegan side. You have plants that have 9 amino acids as well. And what else can we talk about? You have milk and cheeses and all that, beans and legumes that we talked
Mhm.
about. We also have nuts and seeds.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And not forgetting, yeah, soy products, they also have uh, high protein. So yeah, we are all served. Like if you're more into eating meat, you have meat. If you're more into eating proteins, I mean plants, that like vegan or plant-based people, they have the plants. The only thing with the plants is uh, people don't understand. I don't know that each plant has proteins. Apart
Mm,
from even the fruits, they have little amount of proteins. It's the amount that matters. And when it comes to where do you get your protein from, it's not
mm,
just because maize or corn has high protein that is a good protein for you. The thing is, are you meeting the 9 essential amino acids? And so when you come to plant-based or you go to vegan, you have to be very careful with that. Get the good combinations that is going to help you get those 9 amino acids.
gotcha. And the last question would be, how would you describe your diet? Because I see a lot of your recipes
Mhm.
that you cook and whatnot. I would say it's plant based completely. But
Mhm.
how would you describe it?
Um, I would say it's more plant-based, but I wouldn't say I don't eat meat. I don't cook meat in the house. I don't know when was the last time I ate meat.
Hmm.
But I go out, I go to people's houses and I'll eat meat if that's what it's there. Okay. Meat doesn't hurt me if I'm not eating it all the time. I can't cook it in the house because my daughter doesn't like that. She doesn't vomit today, but I try the best I can. Like, if my son could eat meat, imagine now, like I would eat meat and my son and I were eating meat and my daughter is not eating meat. It could be hard for her. So I kind of, adapted myself towards her needs, right? So that
Right.
it's also, she doesn't feel like left out or missing out on anything. So I am more plants, but I can eat meat. Or I do take yogurts. I do buy some cheese now and then, especially when it's summer and we can't cook. We
Mhm.
buy a lot of cheese and because that's what is more available. Lately, since I came from the mountains last summer, last August, I found quite a little bit of change in my body. I find like my body is more food sensitive. So that's why, for example, if you have looked at my post, I'm more into smoothies and salads because I want to calm my immune system.
Okay.
So I go more into the raw food, okay, because I know it helps to calm down the immune system. So depending with the seasons, okay. There
Right.
was a time I was eating a lot of pancakes. There was a time I could cook pancakes 3 times a day. Um, Gluten free though.
Right.
Now I don't do that. Okay, so I adapt myself and I'm listening more into how is my body do feeling. If I eat raw food and I'm not feeling any flares, I don't feel any food sensitivities that are coming up. Um, I'll because I have reactions. I really have strong reactions on the skin. I have pimples and all that. So I try the best to go on there. Currently, my diet, I would say, is more raw, and I cook a little bit of vegetables and mushrooms. But what
Okay.
I eat is not what my children are eating. We share sometimes, but I normally cook for them the food that is
Right.
uh,
Yeah,
healthy for them.
I've moved closer to smoothies and stuff like that, and you know,
Yeah,
greeny stuff and all that stuff, fruits and vegetables and stuff. As far
yeah,
as smoothies go,
yeah.
moving closer to that, I find that I feel better when I have that. So
I find, and this is another topic as well. Having smoothies, they really because you know
go ahead.
Yeah, when having smoothies, they really help me because I feel I don't need to go digesting too much. So the food is already broken down and the food is going to be, the nutrients are going to be assimilated fast.
Mhm.
So, yeah, for someone who is going through a health issue or, being challenged in life, trying to pivot a little bit. How can you support your body with? And trying to go smoothie direction could be a very good stuff. Next time, I'm gonna speak about smoothies and juices because I have had some questions on should we smoothie, should we juice, because there are also some healthy gurus out there who are saying smoothie is the last thing you should do. So yeah,
Okay,
bringing light into that a
that
little bit. I
sounds
think.
good. So what
Yeah,
smoothies? Smoothies. That'll be a
yeah.
good one, real good one, man. It's always a pleasure to get these informative shows in with you. These podcasts, always learning something new. So this is real good, man. Again, we thank the Netherlands for coming in and subscribing to the Apple Podcast
Thank
over
you.
here on Taylor Kennedy. So good stuff, man. Real good stuff. And as
Thank
always, Miss International, really appreciate you
you. Yeah,
and
thank
all
you.
your hard work in preparing for these podcasts. Means a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot to me as well. And this is, if I could reach as many people as possible to bring this message. And once again, come back to what is the best diet for you is to listen to your body and to look what is around you. Okay. I can say, eat this, but what if it's not there for you? What is not available for you? What if you can't afford it? So there is no one diet that is really perfect for anyone. We're all having different requirements. I think the first few episodes that I did here, we were talking about nutrition and women nutrition and men nutrition. It's not the same. When you're sick, it's not the same thing as someone who is, healthy. And sometimes we'll feel like these people who are super healthy, they are bombarding us with you should, you shouldn't. Listen to yourself. Okay, listen and try, be open-minded to try new things. um, I remember, for example, when I came to France, Africans weren't eating salads, for example, like that's food for rabbits, because
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh.
no, 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 no. I mean, that's I was lucky because I came in, I mean, a few months. I found myself in a French family where I was living with them, and there was
Mhm.
salad every day. And so I started eating my rabbit food that way. So having having salad every day. So having not, we you might come from a place where people live the colonialism. They didn't
Right.
have any other way. And yeah, this question I want to ask: when you say you can't, is it because you don't want to, or because you saw your parents and grandmothers doing things, they didn't eat these things? Is it because it wasn't available for them, that
Um,
you pick it up and say, in my house we only eat this kind of food, and so I'm going to perpetuate this? It's not a, there are people I hear saying, these are mostly Kenyans, where they're going to eat some corn food or eat something with wheat flour and say their ancestors are pleased. Your ancestors didn't eat, they didn't eat any flour, they didn't have maize, they didn't have wheat. Those are things that came with the Europeans. So looking at your diet, the way you're eating today, and you ask yourself, am I eating this way because this is the way, this is what it is, or is because I'm having some programming that this is what I saw was being eaten at home, and this is what's supposed to be eaten. So
that's
questioning
interesting.
yourself, adapting yourself. And when you're in a new place, if you're Africans, you're in these Western places, go to their markets and eat their food. when these people come back to the Africa, they also try to eat as much as they can. So don't be caged, imprisoned into a place to think that things are just the way your grandmother or your mother ate. Open up your mind, listen to your body, and try new things.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. So as always, again, like I said, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Taylor Kennedy TV if you want to, for the viewers, that is. But for the listening audience, you guys got to catch us on Apple and Spotify, preferably Apple. We do real well over there on Apple. So good stuff, man. Really appreciate it as always. It's always a pleasure, Catherine. Always a
Thank
pleasure.
you. Thank
So
you. Thank you.
it's a very rewarding to wake up 6, 7 o'clock in the morning
All right.
to get these informative shows with you. So, I get up early because Catherine's actually on Catherine's time.
Yeah.
It's 8 a.m. here now. It's like 3 over there,
Yeah.
maybe 4. Yeah. So,
It's 3. It's exactly 3.
yeah, 3 p.m. in the afternoon over there in France and 8 a.m. here in the States, here in New
Yeah.
Orleans. But
It's a good way to start your day.
a real good way. Real good way. Very informative, very informative,
Yeah.
very informative. And I'm always enjoying them. So good stuff. Good
Thank you
stuff.
so much. Thank you for letting me be here. I appreciate
I'm not letting you be. They know you're the boss. You're the boss. I'm just here. I'm just turning knobs. That's all.
it.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Any closing remarks for your viewers?
Yeah, thank you for everyone who is tuning in from wherever you matter a lot, and thank you for being here. I have a breakfast book that you can find in Amazon. You can just type Catherine Gedu in Amazon. Preferably go to Amazon.com, and then you can find in your market Amazon wherever you are. In Western countries, I think the Amazon everywhere. But if you go to other countries, you might not find it. Just type Catherine Gedu from Amazon.com or France or UK, and you're gonna find it there. Thank you for your support. Always
Good
make
stuff.
health choices.
Well, it actually it pulls up in the here in the States. So it pulls up in the States here. So good stuff, man.
Thank
Really
you.
good
Thank
stuff.
you. Thank you.
And also, speaking of books, I have a recovery book that I've written. I think I released it in September. Also available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Walmart, or anywhere books are sold. The recovery book. It speaks on people with different abilities and supportive systems and all that good stuff. So, real good stuff. We really appreciate you guys. Until a couple of Thursdays from now, we'll talk to you guys soon.
Yeah.
You
Thank
guys
you
be
so much. Bye bye. Have a nice day.
Conversations with Trent in conjunction with Taylor Kennedy Media and your radio network would like to thank you for calling in and listening to tonight's episode. We hope that tonight's conversation offended you just enough to turn your mirror inward to come back for more. So until next week's conversation, be epic.